I know the preseason is a different animal. We try to dismiss it when things go poorly and discount it when things go well. Well, you know what? I prefer the latter of those two choices. And today I get to talk about utter domination on the part of the Seahawks, a 33-16 thrashing of the Chiefs last night at Lumen Field. We saw lots of starters on the field, not all of them, but our focus today on the offense, and especially how they started this game, the tone they set, and the message they sent, and it's being received from people all around the country today. Let's talk about it next. This is Seahawks Forever.
Welcome to the Seahawks Forever podcast. In-depth analysis on everything Seahawks. And now, here's your host, Dan Viens.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's easy. It's free. Just hit that button, and then you won't miss anything that I do. If you want to be notified of new content, hit that bell. And if you just like what I do and you want to show support and help me in the algorithmic world of YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. Also on all the audio platforms, be sure to follow or subscribe there as well. All the other ways you can support me as a full-time independent content creator are listed and linked down below. Let's get to the game. 33-16. I love what Sam Darnold had to say afterwards, where he talked about it. This felt like a regular season game, even in the conditions. Like, I was a little miffed yesterday, I'm not going to lie. I didn't come all the way back here from, 5 months of sunshine in Arizona and back east, and to get August rain. Come on, ease me into it. I've spent a lifetime in this area. Just give me a moment. But actually, I think from a football perspective, especially for the young guys, there's a lot of guys on that roster that haven't played in that atmosphere before here. So it was kind of cool to see the rain. And you know what rain usually does? It usually favors the team that can run the football. And boy, did the Seahawks run the football yesterday. I've been trying to tell you guys. And look, let's get this out of the way right off the bat. The preseason does present some challenges when it comes to evaluation because you're not always getting apples against apples. It's not always ones against ones. I get that. But it's not nothing at all. You can see, like, operationally and systematically how teams work, how they fit together, how efficient they are. You can see the talent on the field, speed, power, things like that. But in this particular case, what you can see is, on game day now, we have two examples of it, is what I've been able to witness throughout training camp. And being able to see it every day gives you a different perspective. So I've been trying to pass that along to you. It's the way this offense is coordinated. And I guess the easy joke there is the fact that it is coordinated. We're going to get a little deeper into that tomorrow. We're going to do a show using some of the really cool things that Jake Bobo talked about and Sam Darnold after the game and just systematically in the passing game and how it all works together. But the way that we could all see it initially is how they ran the football. Being able to come out from the get-go and make a statement on offense and establish the run and possess the football and set the tone. We just haven't seen that in years. I mean, how many times do you go to the game, or if you're not a ticket holder, if you just turn it on the TV, you spend all week. It's the beauty of football, right? You get the whole week of anticipation building up to it. And no matter how well or poorly your team's doing, by the time Sunday comes around, man, you talk yourself into it. Can't wait for this to get going. This is going to be, last year, the year before, this is going to be the week that the offense comes together. All the things my offensive coordinator's been telling me as a fan, right? Oh, we're going to fix this. We're going to do that. We're going to emphasize this more. This is the week we're going to see it. And then you don't see it. I mean, how often have we gone 3 and out to start games or we end up trailing early? And I have a perfect example of that I think last night reminded me of from an opponent standpoint that I'll get to afterwards. But let's just talk about what we saw last night when we sat in our seats. Right? Kansas City wins the toss, they defer. So Seahawks get to start with the ball. I think that was a perfect scenario because, Mike McDonald's a defensive guy. He wants to see his defense. He's got some things to work on, whatever. But he understands that this team's going to go as far as this offense will take it. 10 plays, 81 yards, 5 minutes and 29 seconds, touchdown. Here's the sequencing. Run left, 13 yards. Run left, 4 yards. Short pass left, 5 yards. Then they bring Milroe in on 3rd and 1, little tush push. We got to see that, right? Put that on tape for the rest of the league. They know. Darnold and Milroe on the field at the same time. That was cool. Run right, 7 yards. Short pass left, 7 yards. Run right, 6 yards. Short pass left to Robbie Oots for 13 yards. My favorite play of the entire game. He ran a little, I don't know what you call the route, but it looked like he was coming in to block maybe to like chip on the edge. And then he pivoted outside into the flat. Darnold with a little bit of a roll, something he does really well, just a little half roll, gets it out to him in space. And then a short pass right for 9 yards to a tight end again. Heavy usage of those guys last night. And then Charbonnet up the middle, 15 yards, touchdown. We saw holes. We saw outstanding blocking from a bunch of guys, including one guy that y'all don't think should be out there. Sam Darnold in his one drive, 4 for 4, 34 yards, right? Not spectacular, but he operated the offense with efficiency. We'll come back to that in a moment. And then Zach Charbonnet, 9 yards per carry, 5 for 45, and the touchdown. Kenneth Walker not playing in this one. Again, Mike McDonald said it's just that foot injury. They're not really concerned about it. They're just taking care of it. So then the defense allows a long drive, but they end up getting out of it without giving up any points. And again, not all the starters on defense. We didn't see Leonard Williams or DeMarcus Lawrence out there yesterday. But we saw most. We saw Mafe and Hall and Byron Murphy and a little bit of Ernest Jones early on, some Witherspoon and Reek, and then mostly the twos after that. Second drive on offense. They come out and they do it again. This is where you start to really get excited, right? When it's repeatable. 9 plays, 85 yards, another 4 minutes and 44 seconds taken off the clock. Now, Drew Lock was in for this series, but they kept the entire starting offensive line in, which to open up, right? Charles Cross still coming back from that finger injury, so it was Josh Jones, left tackle, Gray Zabel, left guard, Jalen Sundell starting for Olu Oluwatimi's got the back, Anthony Bradford at right guard, and then Abe Lucas at right tackle. Kept those guys in. Opened with a 30-yard run off left tackle for George Halani. Massive hole. Halani's fast, but you see that hole open up and you think to yourself, like, Ken Walker might have taken that to the house. And then 7 more runs after that. 8 straight runs in this 9-play drive, and then the 9th play was a 12-yard touchdown pass to Jake Bobo out in the left flat. Gave him a little chance to show he's got some moves, right? The first of 2 touchdowns on the night from Jake Bobo. They only faced 2 third downs in those first 2 drives. A 3rd and 1 that Milroe got on the dive, and then a 3rd and 2. The Seahawks' problems on 3rd down the last couple of years were primarily because it was always 3rd and long. I think there was a stat last year that they had the longest down to go on 3rd down of anyone in the league. It was something like, at one point in the season last year, they averaged 7 or 8 yards on 3rd down. It was crazy to go. Guess what? The shorter the yardage you have to go, the higher your 3rd down conversion rate's going to go up, right? They only faced 2 third downs out of 19 plays in those 2 drives. Success on early downs. It's huge. Running the football, short passing game. We saw tempo. We saw the ball coming out quick yesterday. 3rd drive, 11 plays, 64 yards, another 6 minutes and 11 seconds. They turned that over on downs. Then they get the safety. That was a great play. And then they had a 10-play drive and a 12-play drive after that. It's crazy. At halftime, Seahawks with 309 yards to Kansas City's 104. Most of that was on their first drive. 174 rushing yards on 23 carries in the first half alone, 7.6 yards per carry. 29-9 first downs at halftime. And they ended up, for the game, their time possession, let's take a look at this. Let's put this up on the screen here. For the game, their time of possession was 2-1. They spread the ball around. 11 different players, or Yeah, 11 different players caught passes. Nobody more than 3. Got some of the young receivers involved. Derek Young, Cody White had 5 catches between them. Bobo had the 2 catches for 2 touchdowns. That's pretty efficient. Ricky White with a catch. Elijah Arroyo with 2. Brady Russell. Damian Martinez caught 2 balls. Robbie Utes. Torrey Horton. JSN. AJ Barner. Just a tremendous job. Drew Lock was 10 out of 12. 129 yards. 2 touchdowns. Really efficient day for him. Jalen Milroe. Again, I was surprised to see Lock come out there to start the second half. I thought Milroe would get the entire second half. I thought he looked just as good as last week, Some nice completions, ran around a little bit. Just a steady progression for him. He's not having the spectacular preseason that I had predicted and that a lot of us were expecting. I think it could still happen. I think there's a conversation to be had about what's going to happen in that last preseason game against Green Bay, because we do know that Coach McDonald is going to play his starters heavily in the joint practice, and then he's going to shut those guys down. And so maybe you even want to protect Drew Lock. Maybe he gets starter treatment and he goes out there for the first couple of drives, and then you pull him and give Milroe like the last 3 quarters. That might really give him an opportunity to kind of shake and bake and show what he can do. This is crazy. It's like the old GIF, however you want to pronounce it, of the kid. His dad's filming him as about 10 years ago, where he's coming home from the dentist and he's still kind of coming out of anesthesia. And he goes, "Is this real life? I mean, are these PFF grades real life?" Look who's at the top. Anthony Bradford, 92.9. Jalen Sundell, 92.4. Those by PFF standards are elite grades. Abe Lucas, 82.4. Gray Zabel, 78.7. And I don't know where Josh Jones finished, but I really like what we're seeing out of him too. I think the Seahawks have been searching for a good swing tackle for a long time. And I think they believe Michael Jarrell can be that guy. I talked about that in the Risers and Fallers piece. But Josh Jones looks starter caliber. Like if Charles Cross wasn't going to be ready for week 1, I'd feel really comfortable with Josh Jones out there. Just tremendous. And what it reminded me of, oh, by the way, also, during that first half, 0 quarterback hits or sacks. So the pass protection was pretty good too. It sure is a lot easier to protect your quarterback when the defense doesn't know what's coming, when you're under center more often, when you run play action, when you use tight ends, when you don't just go with 5-man protections and shotgun every play, when you have a fullback. It's amazing how much easier it is to protect your quarterback, because you don't have to leave your offensive line on an island and just tell them to deal with it. That's pretty much what the plan was last year. This game reminded me so much of what the Packers did to us December 15th of last year. That was a huge game. There's still some momentum to maybe be able to catch the Rams, right? We missed out on the tiebreaker. The division was still at hand. We felt the defense coming back together. And then a total clunker in a primetime game at Lumen Field against a Packers team that really, their strength of victory coming into that game was real questionable. I thought they could be had. They go 10 plays, 63 yards, 5.5 minutes on their first drive. 7 out of the 10 plays are Josh Jacobs running it down our throat. Follow it up with an 8-play, 80-yard drive that takes almost 5 minutes off the clock. Heavy Josh Jacobs running in short passes. Then an 8-play, 51-yard drive and a 7-play, 83-yard drive. Game was over. Game was over after that. It was just not from just a scoreboard standpoint, but just physically, the Packers just came out and took it. We just haven't been able to enjoy that for most of the last 7 or 8 years. Imagine it this way. What Mike McDonald is capable of doing to teams defensively with his scheme, and then with the talent that he has on hand here in Seattle, with that scheme, being able to play with leads. Getting up on teams 7-0, 10-0, 10-3, 14-0 early completely changes your call sheet and what you can use. and what you can throw at teams. Completely changes what opposing offenses are able to do after that. Shrinks their call sheet. It's a formula that you see other teams win championships with. It's a formula certainly the Seahawks used in 2013, 14, 15. It's a formula that Mike McDonald had in mind and had as a vision when he was hired. It's just, I was talking to my buddy Steve last night about this. I think you just go back to last year and you take the good with the bad. And it was just a little unfortunate that the process took so long before McDonald was hired, because then he didn't have the whole store to shop from when it came to offensive coordinators. The pool had shrunk. Some of the promising young guys and some of the established guys had taken jobs. So he tried a little outside the envelope thinking, a little outside the box, and it didn't work out. This is the kind of offense that he envisioned marrying with his defense. And you can see it taking shape now. I think this is our starting offensive line. I don't think there's any question about that. I think it's been Bradford now for the last couple of weeks. Like, he was winning that battle, but it was close. And then Haynes got hurt. And if you can't be out there, tune in later this week. Bryce Coots and I, we're going to start doing our weekly film breakdown. It'll normally be on Fridays, but this week, because of the weird preseason schedule, we'll probably do it midweek, where we're going to do an all-22 film breakdown with, I'm going to take advantage of Bryce's coaching expertise. And we're going to look specifically, we're just going to focus on the interior offensive line, ZELLE, Sundell, Bradford, during their reps together, and break that down. That'll be, if you're a paid member on YouTube or if you're a Patreon member, that'll show up later in the week. I'm really excited to look at that, because that PFF grade, they're not always right. Obviously, it's a polarizing metric. It does give you some sort of measuring stick, though. And I saw it on tape. I saw Anthony Bradford mauling guys. He looked better in pass protection. I think his feet are better. And when John Schneider told us all the way back in April before the draft that, hey, we like Bradford and we think he can fit in this scheme because he's a good enough athlete to get to the second level, guess what? We saw it. We saw it last night. We saw some of those big runs going behind him. And what encouraged me the most is some of the big runs that are getting all the attention off the left side. Like, we even got the Brian Baldinger treatment. He really focused on Gray Zabel especially. He's a big fan of Gray. And some of the things we did off the left side. But even in those plays, you can see what Bradford's doing on the backside. And it's those little things that happen away from the play that help spring big explosive runs. And he was doing those things too. I'm really encouraged by what I've seen. And I've been the biggest Anthony Bradford doubter. And I'm coming around. The other thing is, and there's the old baseball adage that you don't lose your job because of an injury. But Olu Oluwatimi might have gotten Wally pipped. If you don't know what that means, look that up. Now I'll give it to you. Wally Pipp was the first baseman before Lou Gehrig with the Yankees. And he got hurt. I think it was a minor little injury, like he hurt his finger or something. And Gehrig came in, never gave the job back up again. That was Olu Oluwatimi's job. He was the unquestioned first-team center all throughout camp until his back tightened up. It was a competition. They were working Sundell in, but the majority of reps were going to Olu, and it just felt like it was his job. And I've always said Oluwatimi was a guy that I liked ever since he came out in the draft. And what have I always said about him? I think he's a guy that could start for 10 years in this league, never make a Pro Bowl. And there's tremendous value in that. But Sundell, if he ever seizes the job, his ceiling's higher. I think he's a guy that can make Pro Bowls, maybe even All-Pro. The athletic profile is through the roof for a center. And remember when Kubiak first got here, he did that radio interview where he talked about wanting an elite center. I think Olu is a very, very capable starter. Sundell, the ceiling is more elite. And the best ability is availability. It's my new favorite saying. It sucks that Olu lost his job that way, but I think he has. Because what Sundell's been able to do, it just looks Like he and his college roommate and his buddy ZELLE playing next to each other, that chemistry on the play that Baldinger spotlighted, the big Halani run last night, that ZELLE gets out and leads, he and Josh Jones with a little combo block. He didn't talk about Sundell, but watch, I tweeted it, go check my timeline, watch Sundell with the reach block. That is so hard to do, to get out to the outside shoulder of a nose tackle that's already slanting towards the play. Like he reads motion off of the first snap, right? He's already charging hard to the inside or into the gap. And Sundell beats him to the outside shoulder to help open that hole. Incredibly quick out of his stance. I think that's your starting five with Cross instead of Jones, obviously. I focused heavily on Christian Haynes last night, and while I was watching it live, I know I tweeted there was one play that he just absolutely got blasted back into the pocket, kind of showing that lack of anchor that's a concern with him. But I thought he played well otherwise. Quick out of his stance, quick to the second level, shielding guys off, pulled off a couple of reach blocks. Like, if Haynes doesn't win the starting job, he's not a bust. I think he can still be a good player in this league. And while it seems like the last week or so in practice they've stopped with the center reps, maybe they'll go back to that at some point to try and increase his versatility. But he can play the left side and the right side. I think he's a valuable backup at worst. But Bradford's ceiling's higher because he can move people. He's a big-ass dude and he can move people. So how can you not be encouraged by the play of that offensive line? And even if you still doubt Bradford individually, he's one of five. I've been saying this, like, you're never going to get 5 Pro Bowlers on the same offensive line. There's always going to be one weaker link. But if you play together cohesively and the other guys are doing their job and the ball's coming out quick and you're running the football and you're multiple and you're giving different looks to the defense, they don't know what's coming. We're going to focus on that tomorrow in the video I'm going to do. Man, they can succeed. They can succeed. And now the world is taking notice. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but here's just a small sampling of what people are saying. Our buddy Garrett at Football Analysis, Seahawks are going to be a very fun team this year. Mike Salk, this was interesting. Not sure if I should say this out loud, but I might be in love with Clint Kubiak. This is my favorite play called game of the 16 plus years I have lived in Seattle. Check this out. These are 49er content creators, big-time 49er content creators. Chase Sr. won't be surprised if the 49ers lose week 1 in Seattle. It's going to be a tough game against the Seahawks. Grant Cohn, the Seahawks look young and hungry. Matt Miller, national analyst for ESPN. The energy from the Seattle defense is amazing considering it's week 2 of the preseason. To be this fired up says a lot. Mark Schlereth, this is my favorite one. The Seahawks are whooping that ass. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, the damn Seahawks first drive was fire. And Louis Riddick throwing in a little something different. Everyone's focusing on the running game. Says Sam Darnold looking nice. I'm glad that he said that. Like, I don't want to sweep that under the rug. I've been trying to tell you how impressed I've been with Sam in training camp and how I've seen the internal clock really speed up throughout the process as he gets more comfortable with the scheme, with Clint, and with his teammates, and everything gets synced up together. He hasn't thrown an interception since last Monday. I know we have different definitions of what that means, but Monday the 4th, last time he threw an interception. He's been tremendous, and he carried that over into the game. That's the best thing you want to see as a coach in every aspect of the game. Are we taking the good habits that we're building on the practice field? Are we applying them to the game? That safety from Brandon Peely, you know what that looked exactly like? The way he kind of dipped under and got really low to get under the defender and knife into the backfield and tackle the running back for a safety. If you've been out to training camp, you've seen it. They have this giant canopy. I don't know what else it's called, but it stands about 4 feet off the ground, and it's, metal posts, and then it's just vinyl on top, and they use it to work on their get off and getting off low, exploding low, and starting that way instead of standing straight up, because you have to go underneath that. You're forced to. It's exactly what it looked like. That play looked like that drill that they run, and they do it every day. And what we saw from Sam in operating that first drive is exactly how he's been operating the offense for the last few weeks in training camp. Here's Sam Darnold and then Jake Bobo talking about this idea of his development, his progression, how comfortable he is with the offense after the game.
As I've grown as a quarterback, the more experience that I gain, it's always, on first and second down, that's the goal, to get the ball out as fast as possible. And, whether that's to your number one target or whether that's to your check down, the faster you can move through these progressions, kind of understand what coverages they want to play and understand, what's going to be open, like concept's not going to be open versus certain coverage. They're playing that coverage. How fast can I get to the check down? Just having that kind of understanding of the system and what defenses want to do to us, that can only help me as a quarterback and also us as an offense.
I mean, the cool part about Sammy was since he's got here, he's just kind of been the dude. And obviously there, you call different offenses, call different things differently. Is for lack of a better kind of term. So he's had to learn that aspect of it. But ever since, he got here in whatever it was, April, you could tell he had a grasp on what we were trying to do. I don't know if he's been in this, similar schemes in the past, but it seems like he's had it, and he's a guy that I can go to, that Coop can go to, that all the receivers can go to. If we've got a question about what we're trying to do with, different route stems, timing stuff. So to have a guy like Sam, as physically gifted as he is, kind of mentally where he's at right now, has been huge for our growth as an offense.
These guys love Sam Darnold as a player, as a teammate. You can really sense that. He's really ingrained himself and become one of the leaders of this team. And it was so much fun to see Bobo have a great game. I think he's going to have a significant role in this offense. Felt like he just was ignored last year and not used to the Seahawks' advantage. There's so many things he can do, so many matchup disadvantages he can provide for you as a third receiver out there, or a big guy operating in those condensed formations, running out of the slot, essentially. And we haven't even seen this offense on full display. Kupp was out there the first drive. JSN had a catch, but they're not showing much. They didn't even show much with MVS. Ken Walker obviously isn't out there. We're not seeing Charles Cross. It's this offense still in the learning stage, right? But you cannot help but be encouraged by it and how it all fits together. And you feel it in the crowd. I've been saying for a long time that, we can focus on people selling their tickets as one of the reasons that we've seen more opposing fans in the stadium. We've kind of lost that home field advantage. We've talked about that at length. But I think it has as much to do with style of play and success on the field also. When you show up to the stadium and you're all fired up and you're all full of vim and vigor and excitement and fireball or whatever your drink of choice is, and then you see a team go right down the field on us to start the game, or you see us go 3 and out on offense, and then we're behind 10-0 in the first quarter. It takes a lot out of you. It's harder to muster that energy to scream the way that we used to scream when the opposing offense was in the huddle, and make so many problems for them when you're down 2 scores. And so this style of play, getting out on top of teams early, being able to pin your ears back, being able to unload that Mike McDonald bag and throw all those simulated pressures and blitz packages and things at teams, that's where I think it's really going to pick up. And I mean, that's the overwhelming sentiment. I'm in the stadium, I'm talking to old friends, I'm seeing people that I've sat around in my section for years, and it's the first thing out of their mouth: we can run the ball. This is different. This looks and feels different, because it is. Tune in tomorrow. As I said, we're going to explore the offense a little bit more. Some really, really cool insight after the game yesterday, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. And then later in the week, a couple of big shows I'm excited about. Warren Sharp from Sharp Analytics with his preview guide, breaking everything down statistically, what he likes about the Seahawk team, what he's concerned about still based on the numbers. EJ Snyder from Bootleg Football is going to be joining me midweek. Really excited about that as well. And then we'll be keeping tabs on what's going on in Green Bay at the joint practice, and I'll react to what's coming out of there. And then obviously the Green Bay game next Saturday before we get into roster cuts. I will have a final 53-man roster projection probably probably before the Green Bay game or maybe the day after. But I want to do it well in advance of when the cuts happen and just see if I can nail it. There's still a couple of spots I'm not sure about. Not quite sure. And then we'll probably do a live show the next day or two as well. So get your questions and comments ready. Subscribe. Do all those things. Like the video. And if you want to support me any further than that, all the different ways you can do that down below are listed and linked in the description. Follow me on Twitter at Seahawks Forever. And yeah, do all the things. That was fun, you guys. Can't wait to hear. Tell me in the comments what your favorite play was. What was your favorite play of the entire game and why? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. I'm Dan. Forever and always, go Hawks.